Okay, let's dive in. We hear these stories, right? Like words that seem totally miles apart. Salary and salt, maybe. Do they really connect?
That's a classic one.
Or how about war in English and say guerre in French?
Another great example.
And then there's one that just sounds, well, impossible, like insect and sex. Serious
It
stuff.
sounds wild, I know. But yeah, today we're digging into exactly that, the surprising journeys words take. We're using insights from a transcript all about word history.
Right. So our mission basically is to unpack these connections, see what they show us about language itself. And, there are usually some pretty unexpected twists.
Definitely. And the field that helps us do this sleuthing is etymology.
Etymology,
So
right?
think of it like historical linguistics, but really zoomed in on specific words. It shows language isn't static, words get born, they change sounds, even shapes.
Like that old example, ox becoming oxen for the plural instead of oxes. A leftover from Old English, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. An oxa became an ox, many oxen became many oxen. That irregular plural is a fossil from way back.
Okay, shapes change, but meanings too. That feels even weirder.
Oh, absolutely. Semantic change is where it gets really fascinating.
Yeah.
Take nice. What does nice mean to you right now?
Kind, pleasant, good.
Okay, but when English first borrowed it, hundreds of years ago from Old French, it meant foolish or ignorant.
Wait, foolish. So if I called someone nice back then.
We'd basically be insulting them. Yeah. And then over time, it drifted. It meant things like timid, then maybe fussy or fastidious, delicate, precise, eventually delightful, and finally it landed on kind or pleasant.
It's quite a journey. From foolish to kind, wow.
It's semantic change for you. Maybe, deep down being too nice still has a hint of that old foolishness. Something to think about.
Huh. Okay, mine's slightly blown already. Let's switch gears, though, sounds. You mentioned war and guerre. They sound nothing alike now.
Not now, no. But English actually got war from Old French guerre.
Really?
Through gradual, pretty predictable sound shifts over centuries. That initial goo sound in Old French often became a do sound in English. So guerre shifted towards where in Middle English and eventually landed as our war.
So different sounds today, but they're definitely family.
Exactly. Distant cousins, you could say.
Okay, speaking of family, let's tackle the salt thing. Salt and salary. It always feels like a joke, but it's legit.
Totally legit. It goes back to Latin.
Yeah.
The word for salt was sal.
Sal, okay.
And from that, they had the word salarium, which pretty literally meant salt money.
Salt money, like they paid people in salt.
Often, yes. Or at least money for buying salt. Salt was incredibly valuable, essential for preserving food, among other things. Roman soldiers sometimes received part of their pay as a salarium.
Ah.
So that Latin salarium got borrowed into Old French, became something like salaire, and then English borrowed that, and voila, salary.
So when you say earn your salt, that's literally where it comes from. Amazing.
It really is. Earning your salt ration or the money for it.
And that Latin sal didn't stop there, did it? I feel like there's more.
Oh, you're right. That same root sal also gave Latin salsa, which just meant, salted stuff, anything salted.
Salsa.
Like the dip.
Well, eventually. But first, salsa went through French, becoming saucy.
Ah, sauce.
Exactly. English gets sauce.
Okay, so sauce comes from salt, that makes sense, which then gets us to saucy.
Yep. Saucy, originally meaning maybe piquant, like a sauce, but then developing that cheeky, impertinent meaning.
And from saucy, don't tell me, sass.
You got it. Sass and sassy seem to be clipped, altered forms that came from saucy.
So getting sassy is related to salted food? That's brilliant. Who knew seasoning could have such attitude?
Language is fun, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, but now for the one that still sounds completely nuts. Insect, sex, how? Just how?
Right. This one digs really deep. It goes back to a reconstructed ancient language, Proto-IndoEuropean, spoken thousands of years ago, way before writing for that language group.
Proto-IndoEuropean. Okay.
Yeah.
Etymologists have reconstructed a root in that language.
Yeah.
Sec. And it meant basically to cut.
To cut. Okay. How does that connect?
Well, think about an insect. What's distinctive about his body?
It's segmented, like in parts. Head, thorax, abdomen.
Exactly. It's cut into sections. So insect literally relates to being cut into. The Latin insectum is a translation of a Greek idea of entomon, also meaning cut into.
Okay. I can see that for insect, but sex.
A bit more debated, but the common theory links Latin sexes back to the same root, sec, to cut. The idea might be about division, or cutting the species into two categories, male and female. a separation.
A division, a cutting. Huh. Okay. Well, it's certainly unexpected.
It really shows how far back these connections can go.
So these etymologists, they're like language detectives or archaeologists digging up word roots.
That's a great way to put it. Linguistic archaeologists. They compare related languages, English, German, French, Latin, Greek, Sanskrit, and so on, and work backwards to figure out what the common ancestor, the proto-language like Proto-IndoEuropean, might have looked like.
Even without written records of it.
Even without written records, by tracing regular sound changes and shared vocabulary. That's how we know English father and German Vater are related to Latin pater and French père. They all point back to a reconstructed Proto-Indo-European word, something like fritter.
Wow. And is that why English sometimes has pairs of words, like synonyms, that feel a bit different?
Often, yes. English got its core Germanic vocabulary, like brother. But then later, especially after the Norman conquest, it borrowed heavily from French, which came from Latin. So we also got fraternal, which comes ultimately from the same Proto-Indo-European root, brater, but via Latin frater.
So brother and fraternal are like super distant cousins from the same original word.
Exactly. One came down the Germanic branch, one came much later via the Latin-French branch. It's like finding hidden family connections all over your vocabulary.
This isn't just ancient history, though, is it? I mean, language still changes.
Oh, absolutely. It's constantly evolving. It's not like it just stopped changing after Old English or something.
What kind of changes are happening now?
Well, think about sound changes. In some parts of North America, for instance, the vowel sounds in words like caught and cot are merging. They sound the same for many speakers.
Ah, right. The caught merger.
Or think about the H sound in words starting with Y, like where, what, when. For a lot of English speakers, that H sound is gone, so which sounds exactly like which.
Making that tongue twister, which is which, genuinely difficult.
Precisely. And, of course, borrowing never stops. English is famous for it. Think of all the words we use daily that came from other languages relatively recently.
Oh, yeah. Pizza, sushi, schadenfreude, latte, kiosk, bungalow.
Exactly. Tsunami, algorithm, gorilla. The list is endless. English just keeps absorbing words.
So words really aren't just static labels, are they? They're like tiny time capsules carrying history and culture with them, changing as they go.
That's a beautiful way to put it. They travel, they change their form, their meaning. Every word really does have a story if you look closely enough.
It really makes you think. Given how much it's already changed, what do you reckon English will sound like or be like in another, say, 100 years or even 1,000?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Impossible to know for sure, but it will be different.
And for you listening, if you speak other languages, have you ever noticed those kinds of surprising links? Words that maybe look different but just feel connected somehow. Definitely something to mull over.